stand with me and sing?
But we felt that it was very, very significant on this day to ask Rick to come and just share some of his insights and thoughts on what happened 10 years ago, what's happening today in our land. And the neat thing about Rick, too, is not just all of his military background and the fact that he's a Rittman grad, and those are great, great things. But he's a man of God with a great heart for the Lord and Savior, and we're just so thankful for him to come and take time out of his schedule.
Do you remember what you're doing on September 11, 2001? I sure do. I worked for General Dynamics at the time. I was a contractor working for the government. I had an office with a bunch of people there in D.C., but I was home. The week before, though, I'd been in D.C., in the Pentagon, about 2 rows back, outer ring, Z ring, at the meeting there. And Jackie came by. I was in the office working on a computer, and Jackie came in and said, I don't know what's going on, but this is not good. And then the events began to unfold. And I'm sure each one of you in your mind can go back to that moment in history, just like those who were around World War II, when in fact the Pearl Harbor attack occurred. You feel violated. You feel insecure. You feel bewildered. You feel, why is God letting this happen? What's this all about? What am I supposed to do? Where do I go? Pentagon, this is probably the most sophisticated flying maneuver by the pilots, as they were able to bring that into the Pentagon. You see the number of lives that were lost in the plane and then in the Pentagon. So there's where the fuselage went. This outer ring is called the E ring. This is where the G1, the senior personnel offices were at the time. In fact, the eldest individual killed in the Pentagon was a 3-star general, General Mullen. He used to introduce himself, I'm General Mullen, I am a soldier. After he was killed in 9/11, his wife would introduce herself and said, I'm Terry Mullen, I'm the wife of a soldier. And that's just one of many, many stories. And then, of course, there's the Flight 93. And if you look at the history of this, and I know you can't read this, but took off, fortunately, about 30 minutes after it should have, which gave the passengers an adequate time to realize what was going on. There was a lot of chatter back and forth between the passengers, their families, and enough for them to realize something was not good. It was about to occur, which then, through the heroism of many individuals in that plane, and now as you heard probably the transcripts here recently, what actually transpired back and forth on the plane and the discussions from the plane to the ground. If you see that flew, you can't see the map here, but it came right across Canton and Akron, is headed for the White House. And because of the courage of the individuals in the plane, were able to overwhelm the pilot and took the plane to everyone's death before it got to its destination, which everyone believes was the White House by the path it was on. So estimated loss of life, and I don't think we can be exact about this, but nonetheless, a tragic day in our history, and it's important for us to honor these individuals, and just as importantly, their families. This reached out and touched hundreds of thousands of individuals across our nation and around the world, and also focused our nation on what being an American really means, and the threats that are real to our existence today, back then, and what it means to us now. But while I was there, I met Staff Sergeant Jason Winkleman, and he told me about his brother, who was killed on the 20th of September 2009. Damon Winkleman, graduate of Loudonville High School. He was a medic, and he was on his way to respond to a firefight that had occurred, and his vehicle hit a pothole, flipped over. They were both killed. It was in the Humvee, but they stopped the convoy. They found out up above there was a bunch of IEDs set for landmining, which probably destroyed the whole convoy. Played football, played basketball. He was in band, jazz band, and marching band. Member of the Lutheran Church. He loved the outdoors. They said there wasn't a tree or an animal he couldn't identify. His favorite place was by his lake, by a house by his lake, where he lived in Lakeview, I believe it was called, in Ohio. And also Carolina Beach, in North Carolina. So when I was up here for the recognition ceremony of World War II, his brother came up and took his name tag off and gave it to him. He said, "Please put this in the water by Carolina Beach in honor of my brother." His other brother was also in the military. So it's 3 brothers out of that family serving. 500 people showed up for his funeral, and this is what the terrorists don't understand. What he meant to his community, what his community meant to him.